The Ultratech SMC stages here at Anglesey marks the season finale in the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship. And the title fight may well be sewn up, but there were still plenty of crews here to enjoy a gloves-off rally to end the circuit rally season. And of course, there are a few matters of class championships to round off. One of those crews, though, here for a last blast will be our newly crowned champions, Michael Igo and Will Atkins. They may have won the title overall, but they still wanted some more event wins under their belts and, more importantly, perhaps at this stage, some more seat time. They have a good clean run to end the morning with a minute's advantage. Second place will be Paul Murrow and Craig Simkis. They would have been a little closer to our leaders, perhaps, but they make a small mistake on the opening stage, ending up in a stack of tyres. It wasn't a big hit, but they would lose a handful of time getting the car going again. They weren't the only ones to hit the tyres either. Mark Jasper and Don Wyatt will be out this weekend for the first time in the left-hand drive Skoda. They hadn't quite got used to being on the opposite sides of the car, perhaps. They do some damage to the car as well as taking a puncture with them, meaning they have to stop and would drop right down the order as a result. For Will Owen and Chloe Thomas, it will be third place overall at this stage. They were staying out of trouble, having a good run to end the morning inside the podium positions. It was a good start to the rally as well for Richard Merriman and Kath Curzon. The pair hadn't been out since last year. In fact, an accident at this venue the last time they were out was the last thing we remember. Probably them too. So this was an even better start than they could have hoped for. They lie in fourth overall. The results will be close in the Battle of the Darians as well. Regular championship crew James Garner and Jordan Joins just behind Merriman. 1 second behind, in fact, and climbing the results as the morning went on. So that was looking good for a change in position and perhaps a bit of a battle going into the afternoon stages. It was a new car this weekend for Kyron Hankin and James Swallow. We know the Citroën is capable of good results. Their first test in the car wasn't their best though. Our champions have just won in one of these, but it was taking this pair a little time to get used to it. After changing from the Peugeot, we did see it briefly at Snetterton, of course. They end the morning with 6th. Alistair Stables and Neil Jones were having another good run in that fantastic looking Chevette. They end the morning 7th place overall, 3rd in the class for now. And just behind them in the class and overall results at this stage will be Craig Kamsholt and Mark Crisp. The Escort pair only 2 seconds back as well, so the fight was on for the afternoon. Martin and Jason Davies were hovering around the 9th position mark for the morning. The time's looking good. The pair end the morning with 2nd in the class as well. And they were just a single second behind the Class C Escort pair up ahead. And rounding out the top 10 would be Peter Elkins and Andrew Joel. The pair bringing out the Fiesta WRC this weekend. A rare sight and sound on the stages these days, but great to see them going well. That 10th position would be one that they'd share with Chris Berry and Lewis Griffiths. Equal times after 4 stages, meaning they both lie in 10th on the leaderboard. This pair also lying 3rd in Class C as well. Let's take a look at some of the class positions outside of the top of the leaderboard. And it would be the lead in Class A at this stage from Adrian Harries and Geraint Evans, opening up a 26-second advantage after 4 stages. They weren't running away with things by any means. Richard and Julia Perry were close behind, although they lost a few more seconds to the leaders on the first loop. These later stages were much closer, not letting our class leaders get away just yet. In Class B, it was the Escort of Anthony and Brian Cartwright in the lead. They take a 14-second advantage at this stage. And that lead would be over this man, Paul Sheard, Colin Stevens back alongside. The MX-5 crew never far away from the lead if they weren't in it themselves. They will be looking to make a big push through the afternoon stages, and we'd be looking forward to seeing it. And in Class E, it would be the early lead for Bradley Carroll and James Goslin. It was a good one as well, just over 2 minutes the advantage as they head into midday service. And that lead will be over the Impreza of Lee Clark and Mike Abbott. Going well, but not quite able to keep pace with the Fiesta Proto up ahead. Class G would see a mix of cars, and taking the lead in the class at this stage will be Will Onions and David Williams in their Escort RS 1800. That lead over Wyn Lloyd and Emyr Owen. The micro pair a few minutes back from our class leaders overall. They'd just have to see if there were any troubles up ahead if that was to change. And in Class H, it would be the Mini Challenge crews. Leading the way there, George Clark and Stephen Moises. The pair taking a 38-second lead after 4 stages this morning. Second place behind them in the class were Guy Butler and Oliver Waggett. A great start and actually jumping up a few positions in this last stage alone. We'll have plenty more coverage of the Mini Challenge in a separate report in the next week or so look out for that. In the meantime, here's a reminder of those overall results after stage 4 of the Ultratech SMC stages, the final round of the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship. On to the afternoon stages then here at Anglesey, and there's no change in Class H. Guy Butler and Oliver Waggett keeping hold of second position. The only thing to change, in fact, would be the times as they finish a little further back from the leaders. And those class winners will be George Clark and Stephen Moises. They keep hold of that lead to the finish with just over a minute and a half of an advantage by the end of the rally. It was all changed though in Class G, down to the loss of Will Onions. So that means Alwyn Williams and Dylan Richards were able to move up to second place in the class by the finish. And of course, a move from second into the class lead for Wyn Lloyd and Emyr Owen, taking victory by a significant margin due to Williams super rallying in that second place. Class E would remain pretty much the same through the afternoon. Lee Clark and Mike Abbott keeping hold of second place to the finish, but only just. They were just a single second above third. But taking victory were Bradley Carroll and James Gosling. The Fiesta Proto going well and finishing a few minutes at the end of the day ahead in that lead. We'd also see some change in Class B. We lose our morning leaders, so it will be a step up to second place for Kevin Davies and Sean Rowlands in the Corsa. And that would mean the class victory for Paul Sheard and Colin Stevens. It wasn't a big lead though by the end of the day, just 15 seconds between the top crews in the class. And in Class A, there'd be change in second place. We see Richard and Julia Perry dropping down to third, freeing up second for the Nova of Jack Edwards and Lucy Gutteridge, who put in a big fight and go on to take that position at the finish of the rally. No change though in the class lead. That's still belonging to Marjorie Harries and Geraint Evans, who take the Class A victory this weekend here at Anglesey. We're on to the top 10 then, and there'd be plenty of change here. Alistair Stables and Neil Jones, unfortunately for them, dropping down a few positions to take that 10th spot. Keeping hold of third in Class D though as well. They actually finish on an identical time to the crew up ahead, so that 10th place was actually a joint 9th. For Peter Elkins and Andrew Joel, it will be a single position gained, moving up to 9th place to end the rally in that WRC Fiesta. Chris Berry and Lewis Griffiths, meanwhile, would go one better, equal on times with the Fiesta pair this morning, but they jump ahead by the finish to take 8th overall, 10 seconds ahead by the finish, also taking 3rd in Class C with that result. And just 3 seconds ahead of them on the timesheets will be Craig Kamschult and Mark Crisp, the pair taking 2nd in Class D from 7th overall. Second place in Class C will be where Martin and Jason Davies stayed all day. Even if they were moving up and down the overall leaderboard, they'd gain a few positions to end the rally with 6th. However, it was a time they shared, so it would actually be joint 5th by the end of the rally, showing just how close this top 10 was today. 2 joint positions. And sharing that position with them would be Kyron Hankin and James Swallow, the pair getting more used to the car as the day went on. Hopefully with some more seat time. They'll be challenging for overall victories if they return next season, and we'll be looking forward to seeing that unfold. Plenty more entertainment, but no change through the afternoon for the top 4 positions. Richard Merriman and Kath Curzon continue to lead the way in Class C, taking victory there and 4th overall. In the podium positions, it will be 3rd for Will Owen and Chloe Thomas. And that fantastic finish would also see the pair taking victory in Class D. For Paul Moreau and Craig Simkis though, it would be 2nd place. Hitting the tyres this morning lost them some valuable time. but that wasn't going to change today's result either way. They finished with second overall, 2 minutes back from our rally leaders. And that means that Michael Igo and Will Atkins add a final victory to the tally from this round, making it to the finish with a good enough advantage to put another maximum score on the board, even if it wasn't needed. Their championship, of course, already secured. So with the final round of the MGJ Engineering Circuit Rally Championship complete, here's a reminder of those overall results here at Anglesey.